Today on the show, shenanigans that go on at Crufts, the world's largest, or is it, dog show in England.
And poison meatballs have killed 3 dogs at a canicross championship race in France.
And a game show that Claire doesn't want to tell me about, but you will definitely want to stay tuned for. I'm James Jacobson in Maui, Hawaii.
And I'm Clare Mansell in London, England.
Welcome to Hound Headlines.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsors Everpup, the ultimate daily dog supplement.
Let's start off in the United Kingdom, your homeland, Claire. You just had the biggest dog show in the world.
Yeah,
Crufts.
Really big event here in the UK. It's televised, it goes on for several days, and it's definitely one of those things that people all over Europe head towards if they are involved in the world of dogs. And certainly, even if you're just a viewer, you want to be at home watching it on the TV and seeing the daily updates. It's very exciting. So the big highlight of this year is that a Lagotto Romagnolo was best in show. Now, we are a little bit familiar with Lagotto Romagnolos, aren't we, Jim?
We are. We love them, not only because they are fun to pronounce, but also because they are awfully good at a very important skill, which is hunting down truffles. So on Dog Edition, we have covered them a couple of times because they are so interesting, and we will have links to those episodes in today's show notes.
I remember one of the Lagotto Romagnolos, easy for me to say, who didn't discover a truffle, but do you remember went out on their first dog walk and found like Roman coins buried, which was incredible. So they are amazing dogs. And the story behind this particular winner at Crufts, who's called Orca, is that her owner drove from Croatia 25 hours across Europe to take part in Crufts and was just absolutely chuffed to bits because it's been a childhood dream for him to have a dog in the show and to be best in show. So it was a real feel-good moment.
Chuffs at Crufts.
I see what you did there.
That's a hard one for us Americans to get, but that's a long schlep all the way up from Croatia to England to do that, but well worth it. We were struck by some of the other shenanigans that went on during Crufts.
Yes. So the highlight, not just of Crufts, but I think, frankly, of my week has to be the Baywatch CPR dog routine at Crufts. Now, if you're listening to something, the what? So they do a routine with dogs to music where they have to perform certain movements. And one owner had come up with this routine where the owner sort of lay on the ground as if they had, fainted, passed out, whatever. And the dog ran around the owner in circles and then jumped on the owner's chest. And all of this was done to the music from Baywatch. It was amazing. And the video that they have of this, you can hear the audience cheering and just really, really enjoying it. So it was just an absolute stroke of genius.
Yes, and if you have a stroke and you can rely on your dog to resuscitate you, all the better. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And we will have a link to that in the show notes. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably seeing a little bit of it right now. What else happened? There's some other weird things that happened at Crufts.
Well,
Claire.
One thing I do want to mention, if we can briefly go back to the winners of the various categories, is that in the toy group, the winner was a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Now, I mention this because when we did the episode on the Queen's Corgis, and we were talking about how much she helped the popularity of Corgis, I briefly touched on the fact that the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel was actually on the endangered list with the Kennel Club. And I said, maybe, just maybe, in the coronation year, we will have an uplift in popularity for the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, but it's actually won one of the categories at Crufts. So this could be a really good sign. Yeah, I'm really hoping that maybe they will go on to, have a bit of a resurgence under our new monarch in the UK.
And you are working on getting your new monarch on our show, right?
Yes, obviously. A friend of a friend.
Talk about.
I know we're a small country, Jim, but I'm not that directly connected with the king. I'm so sorry to disappoint you.
It's okay. But would you like to be proposed to
Oh.
at Crufts? Well, someone was proposed to at Crufts in a very delightful
And you know,
way.
the funny thing is, Jim, I actually thought of you when I saw this story, not because
Thank
I
you.
imagine you doing a public proposal, but because the man involved in this dressed up in a dog suit. Now, we did talk about this on a recent episode of Hound Headlines with the guy who has commissioned this very expensive custom dog suit. So he gets to pretend that he is a dog, and you find it very, very creepy. And I thought this really.
Just me. I'm the only one. Everyone else, it's great, but I'm the only one who thinks that's a
So I
little
just thought the
bizarre.
whole idea of somebody proposing in a dog suit would just freak you out. So, I mean, what do
Mhm.
you think of the whole public proposal thing? Are you a fan or not?
I the flash dancing and all that stuff, it's probably not my style. I'm not all that flashy, but I understand the romance of it. But I'd be very concerned if the person says no, because that's
Yes.
awfully embarrassing for
Yes.
everyone. But I guess if you're going to do it at Crufts and you're going to do a public thing, you might as well go big or go home. And so this guy went big wearing a dog costume, but he did take his hat off,
His dog head.
his dog's
Yeah.
head off, and proposed, and so it was lovely, and she said
Yes.
yes,
And
as one
And
would
and
do.
another lovely story to finish on is the fact that Crufts has, over the last few years, worked very hard to try and be more inclusive and to bring rescue dog and mixed breeds into the show. And they do an awful lot of stuff with that now. And one of the things they did was they gave a award to a hero dog who worked with the police force, who is actually a rescue dog who was trained up to work with the police force and has done all sorts of fantastic stuff. So they're very much trying not to make, to move away from the thing of Crust being an elitist show, and it is
Mm.
much more of an inclusive thing for all dogs from all backgrounds. And it's great television. And maybe next year, Jim, maybe I'll actually make it to Birmingham because I would love to go along.
I think we will get you there, but one place that we will be together this year in England is an event that's probably not as prestigious. It's very early in its start. It's called Good
Yes.
Woof, and we're going to be covering that. And Claire and I are both going to be there. I will do some live stuff, and you'll hear about it here on Dog Podcast Network. It's really exciting, and we'll have a link in the show notes as well.
I know you're very much looking forward to the poodle parade, which is going to be happening, aren't you? Yeah.
I am actually really excited about it because it sounds like a great event, and it just happens to work with my schedule.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it, and we will be there together. And if you are going to Good Wolf, please contact us because, hey, we'd love to, buy you a cup of tea, a beer, something like that.
Or Pims. I think Pims is the order of the day.
Let's move over to France for a more serious story.
Yeah, this is an incredibly sad story, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it all week. So we had to talk about it. It's something that is very personal to me because I am a canicrosser, and it's not that far away from where I am because it's over in France, and I was only in France a couple of months ago.
For folks who are not familiar with canicross,
Yes, so canicross is cross-country running with dogs. It's something I do with my golden retriever Maple, and it's something that it really bonds you with a dog. She absolutely loves it. I love it. It's given me a new love of running, doing it with her, and you build up this incredible rapport with your dog. So there were some championship races happening in France recently. And this is a qualifying race to get people through to the World Championships, which are happening later on in Germany. People went along with their dogs, all different sizes and breeds of dogs. There are a lot of what you would call sled dogs taking part because this did originate from that community. So Canicross came out of sled dogs and needing something to keep them trained and fit in the summer months when there was no snow. So that's how it came about. So that you've got a lot of Malamutes and Huskies taking part. And on the course, 3 dogs ate some meatballs, which had been, I believe they were in the car park actually, where they were gathering. And this, they were just on the ground. And the horrific bit about this is within 15 minutes, 3 of the dogs died. I mean, I I just cannot imagine how distressing that must be, because, as I said before, we all love our dogs, but if you do something like a sport with your dog, it is so much more of a bonding thing, and you have this incredible bond with this dog. So they are investigating it. There was a fourth dog who apparently sniffed the vomit of one of the dogs who died and was hospitalized just from that, but has recovered. So there are all sorts of questions which come off the back of this, because, we do have scenarios where dog lovers and dog haters, clash, because we're pushed for shared public space in the world. And, if you don't like dogs and there are too many dogs around and they're not well trained, it causes issues, doesn't it? And obviously there's no justification for what happened here.
So just to be clear, we are certain that these aren't like tainted meatballs. These were
They were poisoned. Yeah.
and there's a large police investigation into this. Do they know what the poison is? Are they able to
There
figure
was
that
some
out?
suggestion. I read that they possibly might have been slug pellets. They're looking at something like that, which would be an easily accessible poison that somebody could get hold of. It's just horrific, and I think the whole canicross community is just really feeling for these owners.
This has been very, not terribly well covered by the mainstream media. Certainly it is a big thing within the canicross community. We will put a link to the Facebook group where many of the people who are involved and are canicross fans are there, and that's going to be where we get a lot of our news. But we will also be covering this for you because this is a tragedy, really, really sad thing from obviously a very sick person. And it does engender the kind of questions that you are asking, is like, can't we all just kind of get along? And poisoning dogs who are out to race. I mean, this is just an atrocious thing. Let's move on from there to something that literally all I've been told is a game show. So it's game show time.
Can I give you the background on this, Jim? This is just not just like a random game show that I'm throwing in here. There is a news hook to this, okay?
Okay.
So we're off to Australia, Jim. Which is kind of funny because I will be in Australia when we do the next Hound Headlines. I'm not going there.
So is this connected with your visit?
I'm not going there just to investigate this story.
Okay.
So we have a story of a dog who was out in the park, fetching balls and picking up sticks and that kind of thing, dives into the undergrowth, comes running out of the undergrowth with something between its jaws, and the owner does a slight double take and thinks, what is my dog holding? That's not a stick. And it is what we shall describe as an adult toy, which had been discarded in the park. And what is particularly strange about this is not the first time this has happened by any means. So in 2020, Clara Robson was out walking her Labrador Charlie in Chesterfield when he found one of these. They do all seem to be in the UK, the other ones, by the way. The original one was in Australia, but the other ones I found are in the UK. In January this year, 15-month-old golden retriever found one in a park in Leeds. In 2019, Sarah Middleton was walking her 3-year-old dog Flossie, who's a basset hound, when he found one. And in October last year, a 1-year-old Cocker Spaniel found one in Gateshead. So it keeps happening. And
notice you didn't mention any of these incidents
No,
happening in the United States. This is just a UK, Australia. Okay, we don't do that in America. That is so crazy.
Believe
bizarre.
me, I looked because I so wanted to be able to pin one on you guys. I really did. And I kept coming across stories of the UK, and I was like, this is really frustrating.
Well, maybe because of frustration, why there's so many adults. Yeah. Anyway, so what is the game show?
The game show, Jim, is that it got me questioning how similar or not dog toys and adult toys might be. And I thought I would come up with a game and see if you could tell the difference and tell whether it's a dog toy or an adult toy. So,
okay, this is a family-friendly show, but okay, I'm game for the game.
So cue the game show music.
Okay, So dog toy or adult toy?
Okay, so first up, is this a dog toy or an adult toy?
Now, I don't know what this says that I might identify it, but I would say that looks like an adult.
The funny thing is, I'm actually forgetting now. I mean, I only did this within the last few hours, but I've already forgotten. So the answer is... well done.
Adult toy.
It's actually...
Okay.
It actually says it's made of glass, which slightly
Glass.
disturbing, but let's not dwell on that. Okay, so the next one. Now, you actually, whatever you go for on this one. Well, no, in fact, I'm not going to say any more. Just make your guess.
Does it have like a battery in it, or is it just basically a piece of black plastic? We don't even know what it's made of.
I think it's rubber.
Would not be very great for a dog, because I think most dog toys, at least that I have for my dogs, have something more to grip onto than just a thing. So I'm gonna go with a sex toy.
Okay, and the answer is it's a dog toy.
What?
It is. Every now and again there is a scare story in the news about a dog who impales their mouth on a stick. So this is the alternative. This is what you buy a dog if you don't want it to have a real stick.
A 22-pound, which is even more than that in dollars. 22-pound plastic stick. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, I really thought that would not be an appropriate dog toy. I still don't think that's an appropriate dog toy.
What is funny?
A stick.
What is funny is that I found an almost identical one that was an adult toy. So that's what I was about to say to you. Whatever you pick, you're kind of right in a way, because I found exactly the same looking one that was an adult toy.
The same manufacturer, and it cost more than 22 pounds.
No, but it was exactly the same shape. Okay, so on to the next one.
This is a really tough one. I going to go with dog toy because it has the things that I think the teeth would grip onto. So I'm gonna go with dog
and the
toy.
answer is
yes, yay! With only 10 pounds. Okay, and it's a safe sticks. You see, it's a safe. I understand that. Okay, that makes sense.
It is quite similar in shape though to that first one. That sort of ribbing thing going on. But anyway, okay, next one.
It has a face on it, which is a little.
It looks like a small octopus with very short legs.
But with like a face
with a
and like
face.
a little baby. Yeah, it's gracious. This is a harder game than I ever thought, pun intended. I would say that is I'm gonna go dog toy.
And the answer is
no. Cute gender inclusive. Oh my!
It was actually
goodness.
crowdfunded, that thing.
That was
Yeah.
crowdfunded.
Okay, on to the final one. Okay, now this is it's sort of it looks like a pig. It's got a face of a pig.
Yeah.
But where the body of the pig should be, there is a hole through the middle of the body.
Okay. I'm gonna go with dog toy because I think the purpose of the hole is to like put a treat in or something like that, like peanut butter or something like that, to keep the dog busy for hours.
Okay, and the answer is well done.
Yes. Pinky latex toy for dogs. Okay. These manufacturers are clearly not sponsors of this show. Wow.
So there you go, Jim.
Wow.
That begins to shed some light on why so many dogs have been emerging from bushes in parks in the UK and in Australia carrying something that isn't a stick. Although what it doesn't explain is how they got there to start with. And let's not dwell on that too much.
No, let's not. Let's wrap up today's episode. I thank you for joining us today. If you are looking at today's cover of our show and thought, that is a very distinguished looking dog with a very long tongue, that is because every week we change the cover of our episodes that are on the podcast. And this week it features none other than Clare's dog, with a very long tongue, Maple. So Maple joined us. If you would like to have your dog featured on a cover for Hound Headlines, just get in touch with us at dogpodcastnetwork.com and send us an image, and your dog might be on the cover of a future episode of Hound Headlines.
And also, just to say, if you do spot a dog-related story over the next couple of weeks that you think would be good to be featured on Hound Headlines, then either send us a link to it or tag us on social media at Dog Podcast Network. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, or on Facebook. And we would love to have your contributions and feature them on the show.
We would. Next week on Dog Edition, we are covering a harrowing story of a plane crash that involved a bunch of dogs. And it's a good story because none of the dogs died. Check that out next week on Dog Edition, where you pick up the feed for this show, or at dogedition.com. Hound Headlines is sponsored by Everpup, the ultimate daily dog supplement. It is a delicious blend of adaptogens and vitamins and minerals and prebiotics and probiotics, and you sprinkle it on your dog's food every day. Whatever your dog is eating, whether your dog is eating kibble or home cooked or raw, it will help make sure that your dog has all the vitamins and minerals that they need. And it tastes delicious. My dogs have been on it forever and ever. I have an ownership interest in the company because I really believe in Everpup. So check it out. You can try Everpup for only $8. It's normally $30. You can try it for just $8, which is a month's supply for most dogs. If you have a really small dog, that's a 2-month supply. And you can check that out at everpupclub.com. And then when it asks for a discount code, type in DPN, as in Dog Podcast Network. Thank you, Everpup, for being a sponsor.
For Dog Podcast Network, I'm Clare Mansell in London, England.
And I'm James Jacobson in Maui, Hawaii. From all of us here at Dog Podcast Network, I want to wish you and your dog a very warm aloha.